This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Dave, 87CYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our club's homepage. There you'll see the frequencies that we transmit on, a little bit of biography about our club, information, and also a link where we takes you to YouTube, where we stream our nets held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for allowing us to use WW7STR repeater 147.08 for our voice transmissions during the nets, and that has a tone of 103.5. Again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. This is Dave, KD7CYM. I'll pause momentarily in case anybody has an emergency contact or needs to make a contact with anyone on the 08 machine before our net gets fully underway. Again, this is Dave, KD7CYM, pausing the net. Hearing none today, and again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Already signed into the net via video is Ron, KD7QKU, Jessica, KF7UHK, Lee, N7KC, Bert, N7CS, Bob, K9PQ, Richard, K7ITX, and silent this evening, James, WU7N, and Dave, KD7CYM. And I see Wade has joined the group, W7ITL. Is there anybody else that would like to check in this evening? And we'll get the show underway. Let's start off with Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma.
Okay, well thank you very much, Dave, and hello to the group. It's always nice to see everyone. So what have I been doing? Not a whole lot. I was just telling Bob before the net I'm getting to be a sissy anymore. It's cold outside. I don't even like to go out to get the mail, for Pete's sake, let alone anything else. I need to start walking. My ankle's a lot better now. Let's see, Sunday night was Joanne's niece's daughter's birthday. She turned 19. So they had a party over at Joanne's sister's house, and so we go over there, had dinner. Chicken fettuccine somebody made. It was pretty good. And it's always a big bunch, a lot of noise. My hearing aids don't do well in noise, but that's life. But anyway, it's fun. I mean, that's the reason we moved here, and we're enjoying the get together with people. So that's really good. So I guess with that, I'll turn it back to Net for now. KD7QKU.
KD7QKU. Let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK.
UHK, yeah, it is cold out there. This morning it was like 35 degrees. Right now it's 41 degrees up here where I'm at in Everett at 550 feet of elevation. And I'll tell you, in the morning I went out to go start the paratransit bus that I drove today. And you have to open up the hood, look under the hood, and go around the bus and check all these different things with a device called the Zonar. And the Zonar kind of automatically helps you make sure you go and touch each thing that you should be looking propane. I think it's propane. So and it takes a while for it to warm up, and so you can't wait till it gets warm, because when you get inside and close up the doors, you get some relief from all the coldness in the morning. So that's what I did this morning, and drove around for about 7 hours and delivered people to all different places, and it was nice. It was a good day. Other than that, I got to pass it back to this KF7 UHK.
KF7 UHK, thanks for that. Let's go to Port Angeles to Lee, N7KC.
Well, all right. Good evening, folks. N7KC Lee in Port Angeles. Am I making the trip? Okay, got thumbs up. Well, welcome back, Bert. Good to see you. I trust you had a good trip. I'm sure you've got some interesting things to talk about. You know, I don't know if I think I was at the last net. Well, anyway, not a whole lot going on here. It's, you know, I'm getting things done. Got the kitchen sink installation all finished, and that's all the tile and grout and all that stuff came out really. And, let's see. James says he can't hear me. Is that true? Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, I've got one thing I was going to show you here. Yeah, I think everybody can see that graph. Look at this guy right here. Look at that guy. That's an artifact. That's I sample every 5 minutes on the barometer. And if the sample period coincides with the time I'm on the air with CW, there's a strong possibility I'll get a data point that's somewhat moved off scale, or at least not where it ought to be. So anyway, it turns out that I can just edit these things by double-clicking on them, and the thing comes up here, and that would be this one right here, 30.225. So I double-click that, and I'm going to say that ought to be a 30.115. And I'll do that and go back to the picture, and by golly, the artifact is gone. How about that? I hope you can all see that fine. Anyway, I don't have a lot more time. Anyway, it's good to see everybody. This is N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Back to you, Dave.
KC, and welcome back, Bert, N7CS in Marysville. Take it away, Bert, N7CS.
Okay, well, yes, I'm finally back. I actually got back on Friday morning, but yeah, I've been jet-lagged, and it hasn't really caught back up yet. I was planning to come to the net on Saturday, but I think I fell asleep at like 6 in the evening, so obviously didn't make the net then. Even now, I still feel extremely tired. It hasn't really got caught back up to Seattle time yet. But oh yeah, so I think most of you know this, but I'm officially retired now. So January 10th was my last full day of work. So I haven't had to deal with it since then. And I just got back. The reason I'm jet lagged is because I got back from my vacation that was starting in Cape Town, South Africa. So on the next round, I will share some photos from that trip. The trip went really well, except, well, actually there was a couple of things that didn't actually work out. So one of those things was, so to get to Cape Town, we flew on Qatar Airways, and we connected through Doha. Well, in Doha, somehow my wife lost her passport, and we were frantically trying to figure out what to do there. We were almost planning to have to return back to Seattle because there would be no way to actually continue on continue on out to anywhere other than the U.S. if we didn't have the passport. They said you couldn't get like a quick one at the embassy quickly enough to keep going to to Cape Town. So eventually, after talking to like 20 different airport workers, we found one that was sympathetic to us. It was like a supervisor for one of the support folks. Let me let it drop for a second. This supervisor knew all the right people to call to try to find, to help us find the passport. And eventually they did find it. It was like 15 minutes before our flight. That was not enough time though to retrieve it from the other part of the airport and get it down. So we did have to like catch the next flight, which was 6 hours later. But that was fine. It ended up working okay. Luckily, we didn't have to pay any extra fees or anything like that. At one point, they were telling us it was going to be like $900 a person because we missed that flight. But because they had the passport and they just were too lazy to like walk it over to us, they I think finally relented and didn't charge us anything for that change of flight plans. But that was like the one glitch. The second glitch was that about midway through the trip, my wife caught a stomach bug. A lot of people on the ship were catching a stomach bug, and we actually got isolated to our cabin for 2 days. So because of that, we missed our excursions in the country of, and I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, Namibia, but it's just north of South Africa. So we missed our excursions there. On the last day, we got released from the cabin like at around noon, and the ship was leaving like at 2. So we got off the ship, walked around for about 20 minutes, and then got back on the ship. So we could at least say we were in the country. We got the stamp on our passport, but we didn't really get to do what we were supposed to do. Let's see, what else is going on? Well, I think before I left, I mentioned that the engine in my generator had been replaced. I mentioned that before, but I didn't show any pictures. Maybe in another round later, I'll show some pictures of what my disassembled generator looked like, because you might find that interesting. So I'll show that a little later. Anyway, this is Bert and Marshall, N7CS, back to that.
7CS, thanks for that. And time for a little bit of an ID again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. So let's go to Bothell to Bob, K9PQ.
Background to come on. That image that I've been showing in between, that's supposed to be my background tonight, but I kind of thrown off because I'm doing my best to do what Richard does tonight, and I'm really exercising this A10 mini
evaluation happen to your artwork. Let's go to Wade in Tacoma, W7ATL.
Yeah, just hold on just a moment while I switch myself in. I had to switch my TV off. Every time I transmit, when I get my TV on, it creates a bunch of buzz. But, hey, nice to see you, Bert. Good to see you back from South Africa. I still got sniffles a little bit. I've been getting over a cold. But, yeah, pretty good otherwise. No, residual kind of mental fog or anything. I didn't get COVID or anything, but I got some cold and with the family about it as well. Let's see. This is my last week before I go on vacation. Next Friday, I'm going to be heading down south to Florida to see my folks again with my family. My wife and my son and his best friend all come down. We're going to go down there, and we're going to spend a week down there and go to Legoland, I think is where we're going to go. But other than that, just meeting up with my folks and hanging out there. Forecast weather-wise is, mid-80s during the day and, 60s or so during the night. So sounds like it's going to be a pretty good time when I'm down there. So I'm excited about that. Alright, well that's that for my report for this round. I'll turn it back to Dave, W7ITL, back to net.
W7ITL, Wade, thanks for that report. Let's go to Bellevue to James, WU7N.
Well, thank you, KD7ZYM on net control tonight. Thank you, Dave. This is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. How is the audio tonight? Like those minor changes when they work. Ron, you're not the only one feeling cold tonight. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my domicile here, because for some reason, it was actually colder. It was 10 degrees Fahrenheit last winter or winter before. Didn't feel that cold here inside, so I'm trying to figure out what's changed in here. Anyway, Jessica, I think Zonar is an absolute superb name for a robot overlord that tracks your every movement and orders you around. They couldn't have come up with a better name. It's better than Tron or something. Zonar. Anyway, and let's see. Lee, you make me laugh. If the data doesn't fit the theory, change the data. I think that's the motto of every PhD. Most extreme example of that, I don't know if Excel, I should check this and see if the latest version of Excel does this, but there was a spreadsheet, I'm not sure it was Lotus or what it was, but you could actually drag the lines around on a graph and it would change the numbers of the cells for you, which I just thought was hilariously funny when I saw that. Congratulations to you. You do have that, what I call the fresh in from Hong Kong look tonight. It's just something about your eyes to tell you haven't quite gotten enough sleep yet. Get lots of sleep, that'll help. I would call your wife's passport recovery the miracle passport recovery of the century. I've never heard of one being found once it gets away from you. They're just slippery little dudes. Let's see, 20 minutes in country. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of my trips. Someone asked me once for the Middle East, North Africa, that area of the world, what are the list of all the countries I've been in? And I go, I have no idea. Because I don't think it counts even if you land, they skirt you off to a hotel somewhere, and then, in the middle of the night you take off again. Were you ever there? How do you know you were really there? I could have been anywhere, right? Well, Bob, congratulations on your artwork. Now you're going to have to, hire a guard and get an alarm system, put it in a museum, and become famous. So anyway, I hope that happens soon. This is James, WU7N in Bellevue, turning it back to Dave, our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society tonight.
WU7N, thanks for that. This is Dave, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. Well, here in Lake City, I've got a nice, crisp 41 degrees and clear. And this has just been about 3 days of cold night. It's just cool. So anyway, I think if I can get that sonar to work for me when I wake up in the morning, that certainly could make life a little bit easier, and I just automatically snap to and be ready for an alert for the rest of the day without having to do anything, just sit back and relax. And then Bob, with his artifact of great art canvas that he's found, boy, that is American Roadshow type of art that it's so big he's going to have a hard time getting into the Roadshow to get it evaluated, but it'll be interesting to see when it comes to Seattle if he can take it there and find how many thousands of dollars he's increased the value of his $200 painting. And this is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. So that's pretty much what I've got at this point. So we'll move it back up to Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma.
Thanks again, Dave. This is Ron, KD7QKU. Well, Bert, when you were telling that story about the passport, I kind of swallowed hard. I figured that was the end of your trip. I'm like, Dave, that was a miraculous recover, that's for sure. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I shaved off my beard. So I started growing my beard, I think, the day after Thanksgiving. I had it for a couple of months. And you can't imagine how cold my face is. Lee probably can. You wouldn't think that little bit of hair on your face would make a difference, but for 2 days, I have just been, my face is just sensitive to the cold. The last time I looked at the temperature, it was 34.9. So we're definitely colder in Tacoma tonight. We've been about the same. I don't know if it was 30. It didn't frost this morning. I think it was 33 when I got up. But I almost think it's going to be colder in the morning. There, and I had some. I had a question for Wade. I gave him a call the other day and was going to talk radio with him. And I know that he bought this beautiful little portable antenna pack that he had. And I think he got a radio, maybe a QRP radio or something, that he could take with him when he went. He's going to show me a picture. I'm not sure what it is, but it's really nice. A nice little radio. Okay. What else was I going to say? Well, we did get out today. We went over to Office Depot. Joanne needed to get a cartridge for her. He's got it turned on. Needed to get ink for the printer. So anyway, it's really nice. That's for sure. So anyway, with that, I'll turn it back to Ned. Thank you. KD7QKU. Oh, Bert's got one too. Are those L-Craft? Or no? There's something else. Okay, back to that.
QKU, Ron, thanks for that. Well, let's go to Everett, to Jessica, KF7UHK.
Radios there, that's kind of cool. And I see it even has a little handle on top like a lunch pail. So you can walk along and easily carry it. Very neat. Let's see, so I was wondering if your picture is a serial lithograph or it's an actual signed one only type of picture. Last couple of pictures Sylvia bought off the cruise ship were originals, not serial lithographs, signed by the authors. One was Romeo Brito and one's a Peter Max. And you go look these things up on the internet and they're not cheap. So it's kind of neat. I think they'll someday be worth a lot of money. Probably after we're long gone and dead. Let's see, Florida. I've got cousins down there in Fort Lauderdale. When I was down there at about age 16 or 17, I got to ride on an airboat. From my uncle had an airboat, so we went out to the Everglades. And I got the first ride, and it just felt like I was on a speeding boat going through weeds, and it just felt like hold on tight, because it was kind of terrifying. And then my dad went out on the second trip out, and the thing stalled, and they were about a and rescued him. And I guess there's lots of alligators out there in the Everglades that they probably could have easily gotten hurt by. But it was a very scary ride for me. I thought it was just like stuff was going just right past me. And then Mr. Lee, I was going to say something about your spike. I was thinking maybe that's when that asteroid went by and changed everything just for a moment. Then it all went back to normal. KF7JK.
UHK, thanks, Jessica. Let's go to Lee, N7KC, back in Port Angeles.
Okay, very good. N7 KC, Lee in PA. Well, I guess I could have made up some story like that, Jessica, but anyway, I've removed several of those every couple of days, you know, and I have got more shielding than you can imagine on the link between the computer and the actual perception 2 is just a simple little cable, and I've got tinfoil on that thing and wrapped up and small, and I have knocked it down. It was just terrible at first. Oh my gosh, it was a wipeout. But now with the 5-minute sample interval on the barometer, you know, most nets are over 5 minutes, so sometimes you can slip right through them.
Connected N7KC.
Never have a problem. And birds, this constant sleepiness. You know, down in Africa, they got this little thing called a tsetse fly. Maybe you got bit by a tsetse fly. You just happen to have sleeping sickness. Anyway, and it looks like Wade's got a 705, and I know Bert does. Nice radio. If you look at the volume of that box and the price of it, it's pretty expensive per cubic inch. Anyway, yeah, nice radio. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I don't have anything else. So, to be merciful, I'll send it back to Dave. This is N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Go ahead, Dave.
N7KC, thanks for that. Well, let's go to Marysville again to Bert, N7CS.
Okay, well, so this round will probably go a little long since I'm going to do some show and tell. So first I'll start with the generator deconstruction picture. So let me try to share the screen here. Okay, and hopefully this will be coming. Oh, okay, there we go. So let me select all these, go to slideshow mode. Okay, so here is the engine. Actually, I'm not sure if it's the new engine or the old engine. I don't quite tell. Oh, why is it going so fast here? But here's like all the different parts kind of laid on the ground where they took it out. Oh, here's the motor. Like, look at that, like, coiling. The wire coil is just so amazing to me. I wonder how long it took. I don't know. Maybe they must use a machine to do that. I think I'd go crazy trying to coil that myself. But and then here is like what just the generator opened up with the stuff all taken out. Look at all the screws down here. I asked them when they were doing this, like, you remember where all these screws are going to go? And they said, oh yeah, no problem. So I hope they did, because I'd have trouble with that. But anyway, those are the pictures of the generator. So now let's go on to the vacation photos. Oh yeah, so instead of like, you know, in one of the ports in Africa, instead of like the pilot going on to a little tugboat or whatever, instead they lift the pilots out on helicopters. So that was kind of interesting. But let's see, here's the park we were at. There's a buffalo, I think they said, some giraffes, more giraffes, elephants, although the telephone lines here, or the power lines that kind of spoil the photo. But I forget what they yell for something. I want to let it drop for a second. Okay, and these little critters,
what they're called, maybe Pyrex or something like that. This is in Cape Town, so this is the Table Mountain. It's just a really cool view we had, like right from our balcony on the cruise ship. Some more of that. We did some walk to the beach where we could see some birds. Here's some like warthogs and ducks, more giraffes, elephant, like looking right at us. One of those guys again. Warthog, and then there's 3 babies over here. More warthogs, more zebras, more beach pictures or hiking pictures. One that we were on. More of these little critters. And this one was pretty big compared to like some of them we saw. Here's like 3 of them, one there, one there. They just like sit on these rocks. This is the park we went to, another duck. Then we saw some penguins. So lots of penguins on the beach. Oh, and here's some baboons with a little baby hanging onto its mama. A little better picture of the baby hanging onto the mama. More baboons. Oh, I like this one. This guy is like just contemplating his life, sitting out by the ocean and the waves. Oh, this was at Cape of Good Hope. Yes. More baboons. Bunch of seals on rocks. Some ostriches that we saw at Cape of Good Hope. And that's it. So that's the super quick run through of the vacation photos. So, and let me now try to remember how to turn this off. Okay, well this is Burton Marysville in 7CS. Back to that.
CS, and it's ID time again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. So let's go to Bob, K9PQ in Bothell.
Well, I don't have a lot to add, and I haven't been taking notes. I'm sort of concentrating on just trying to get everybody switched in properly tonight. I've heard nice pictures, definitely very nice pictures of the trip, and good to, glad you had a good time there, and that you had, as James said, incredible luck with the passport. I was stunned when you said, oh yeah, they finally found it, and just had to wait for the next flight. I did not expect that at all. Lee, that's really cool about the pressure gauge and that weird little glitch. I mean, that was pretty cool when you just change one digit and boom, it pops right into place. I'm like, you know, it reminds me of programming. So with that, I'll send it back to you.
K9PQ, thanks for that. Well, let's go to Wade, W7ITL in Tacoma.
Guys, it's been a great net, and I like to say that Bert, it was nice seeing all your pictures, and I was just not aware of how many monkeys are in Africa. It's just amazing to see how many. I don't know what the climate is down in South Africa. I'm assuming it's probably similar to here, maybe a little hotter, maybe like San Diego weather. I hear there's lots of like sharks there though, and the mountains look beautiful. And let's just see. That's it. Honestly, I don't really have a lot to say tonight. And yes, just to answer questions, that was an IC705 ICOM radio, and that's my daughter behind me, Gianna. She's giving me the rabbit ears. Alright, well that's it. W7ITL, back to net.
ITL, Wade, thanks with that. And let's go on to James, WU7N in Bellevue.
Dave, WU7N Northeast Bellevue. First of all, I think I got it right. I think that critter is called a Cape Rock Hyrax, Procavia capensis, but I think they're commonly called feed me's, and they're all over. And to answer answer your question about South Africa, the climate is very similar to the low countries of Europe, and that's how people ended up settling there. And that's one of the histories of that continent is people came there and were very successful. They, of course, came along the coast first. And like anybody else, when the next herd came along, the people on the coast said, this is a wonderful place. Why don't you go a little north and settle there? And they kept doing that, and we were very successful in that part of the world until they started to get into more north, into equatorial Africa. And the natives all, at least after many years of surviving, would always settle on mountaintops because the wind would blow the mosquitoes away. But the settlers, because they were, Europeans, and water was the only way you were going to get around, they had a tendency to settle on the rivers, and so the mosquitoes ate them alive, which is why those, as they moved north, they were less and less successful in making settlements in that continent. Anyway, a bit of trivia for you there. Engineering per cubic inch. Lee, you must have had experience with that. I had a ACE contracting officer's technical representative once. He had a shadow box on his wall, and it was this little golden box where you could see there was a ground and a power, and there was an input and output, and it looked, was open, and it had all this fancy stuff inside. And I said, what was that? I mean, that must be really kind of, a big deal because it looked like, something really fancy. And he goes, oh, no one's told you about the famous golden box. And I go, no. And he goes, and he points to it and he goes, in this entire contracting officer's technical representative office, no one knows what that ever was supposed to do. What the ever specs were ever supposed to do, or whatever was supposed to come out. Nobody knows. It's a mystery. And he always would point that for the new people and say, don't let the golden box happen to you. Because however much many of your tax dollars went into the golden box, no one really knows that either. It's a mystery, but we probably all don't want to know, especially towards April 15th. Ron, yes, I got my hair cut, and I should have waited a couple of months because my head now feels so cold. I have to wear a hat everywhere now because before I had this big shaggy mop. The last real haircut I took was 4 years ago, I think, probably fall or holiday season of 2019. And ever since then, it's been the COVID Braille haircuts where you try and do by Braille. So this is the first haircut I've had where I actually, got a pro to do it for me. And then with that, I see it's 8:38, so let me turn it back to Dave, our net control, KD7ZYM. This is WW7N in Northeast Bellevue.
WW7N, thanks for that. And ID time again. Boy, we have a lot of IDs going on this net. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City, Washington. Oh my, I've been fighting a little bit of a cold the last week, but it seems to be getting a little bit better today. I think I'm only going through 25 tissues a day as opposed to 30. So anyway, the sniffles are getting a little more under control, but looking forward to this warmer weather that we're going to have, and I guess we're going to have a little bit of rain come next week, so that'll be a nice, pleasant change, getting back to normality for weather-wise. And that's about it from here in Lake City. Well, let's see, the big Lake City story was there was a doggy daycare that ended up with a dryer fire inside the doggy daycare, and about 150 dogs had to be evacuated outside of this doggy daycare at about 100 and I guess it was 30th and Lake City Way. The fire department came out. 4 dogs needed to go to a vet to have some respiratory problems taken care of, but they rounded up all of the dogs and they just sort of let them out very quickly, and there was an abundance of poodles in Lake City, you might say, for a couple hours till they rounded up the group, and they got all under control. All the dogs were accounted for, and apparently the 4 that needed care was just smoke inhalation, and they're back in service again. They trucked off a lot of the other dogs off to Bothell on a bus with the handlers. Anyway, that was kind of an interesting way of getting somebody else to take care of some of the dogs, and the owners have all been reunited with their dogs at this time. That fire was around noon that's it. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. So let's go back up to the top of the list to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, after the repeater identifies itself. Alright, Ron, KD7QKU here. Well, I was just looking up on my phone that ICOM 705. Nice radio. Looks like it's on the battery pack it's 5 watts, and on a 13 point power supply it puts out 10 watts. So really nice. Anyway, let's see. I guess I told you to shave my beard off. And just haven't done anything. I'm telling you, other than watch TV a little bit and fool around. Kind of boring over here at the Baker House. I checked the other day. I was just thinking about getting out and about, and I decided on my phone on the weather it used to show the COVID report, how many new cases, and so I looked it up on my phone. It doesn't show it on the weather anymore. So I looked it up on my phone, and so I think last weekend there was 118 new cases here in Pierce County. So it's still alive and active. And let's see, who just got it? Oh, I guess Governor Jay Inslee, Joanne told me on the news tonight, he just got COVID. So I don't know how bad it's going to be. Maybe it's pretty easy now. But anyway, that's it, I guess. I'm enjoying the net, listening to everybody, and pictures were nice, Bert. So it'll be nice that you say you're going to go to Panama next, so that'll be nice to hear about that trip. Okay, back to net, KD7QKU.
7QKU. Let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK.
Did someone mention that the animal with the horns might have been an ibex? I'm not sure, but that's what it looked like to me. I don't know what an ibex is, but it looked like an ibex. Let's see. Second here, because I had something on my mind. Oh, a recipe. This is a recipe for if you're not feeling good, maybe have a little cold. This came to me from Sam, or Dave, as Sam and Dave. So he's, I can't remember his call sign, but he's on the net quite a bit. And you take some Wild Turkey 101, and you take some lemon along with the, squeeze that whole lemon along with the rind into a glass, and you throw in a bunch of honey. And then you put a whole lot of hot water to make it really hot, and then you slug that down. And Wade's not here to hear that, but that's what you do, and that should just clear whatever little sniffles you might have going on. Now me, I like Taco Time's hot sauce. I'm not really that fond of hot sauce, but if I got a cold, man, I'll just really dig into that, because I think that kind of helps. With that, I'm passing back KF7HK.
KF7UHK, thanks for that. Let's go to Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles.
Okay, here we go. Try it again. N7KC, Lee, PA. Well, yeah, Bert, very interesting pictures. And what I found really interesting was that your generator has a wound rotor. Very interesting in the days of permanent magnet rotors to see one that's wound. And by the way, I ran across a video on YouTube of them actually winding the stators of a motor like that. Fascinating. I have never seen a machine with so many little levers and one pulling and tucking wire into slots. It was, and fast. Oh my gosh. Wind something like that in, 30 seconds. It's amazing. And Dave, I know that dog daycare place up there. We used to, for some reason, be close to it. I think there was a restaurant there right by it. And those dogs would just howl in there, just lots of them. I know right where that is. And so one thing here I thought maybe I could show would be show you what the weather station's looking here like right now. And we're, as you can see, we're about 36.5 Fahrenheit. The barometer is steady. The wind here, if I come over here to the graph, I can go through and I can pull out the wind for, see, we haven't had any wind. My wind generator sits up there, you know, doesn't do anything. Look at that. Go for hours. There's a little wind there, you know. But anyway, I'm really enjoying my my weather station. This thing is really nice. You can see my voltage, battery voltage is up to 2.72. That is really good. During those really, really dark days, we got down to 2.37 volts, and it flipped it into mode 2 or something, where it didn't sample the wind every 5 seconds, but it was every minute. Anyway, finally we got some sun and got her back in business. So, enough of that, and I'm about out of time. So that, guys, I probably won't get around to me again, so thank you very much. Always enjoy it. And, and Ron, you might comment if you get around the next time, if you've ever picked up any CW stations and does your code reader really work. Anyway, back to that. Dave, go ahead. N7KC. Port Angeles, clear.
KC, let's go to Bert again. N7CS.
Yeah, that reminds me, all that copper wire in there, I probably need to go walk the wood of the generator to make sure no one comes and tries to steal all that copper. Oh, that reminds me of something. So, like, when we were in Cape Town, they said they had, like, trains, or commuter trains, but they haven't been used in a few years because they were powered by electrical lines overhead, and they said people kept stealing the electrical lines to get resell the copper, and they kept replacing them, and eventually it just was happening too frequently, and they gave up, and so the commuter rail died in Cape Town because of all the theft of the overhead copper lines. So that was something I had never heard before. But let's see what else is going on. The 705, the Icon 705. Yeah, I got that a while back. I've only used it a few times. Now that I'm retired, I need to get back to hiking up mountains and stuff to try to do some parks in the air or something like that with it. One thing I noticed with it though, I don't know if Wade's still here or if he's signed out, but when I try to do an FT8 on it, as soon as I plug in the radio with the USB, the waterfall just gets totally noisy. It's apparently a common issue with that radio, and I think some people say you need to connect with Bluetooth or something instead, because the direct USB connection really screws it up. I tried getting a USB isolator. I haven't tried connecting that yet, so we'll see if that does anything else. But yeah, that's probably it for now. This is Bert in Marysville. Thanks for all the comments on the pictures. Back to that. N7CS.
7CS, thanks, Bert. And we'll get another idea here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, and I'm Dave, KD7CYM. So let's go to Bob, K9PQ in Bothell.
Both IDs taken care of at the same time. Very nice. Penguins, that was the surprise to me. I mean, after seeing them, it's like, oh yeah, there are penguins in South Africa, but I never really think about there being penguins there. But it's pretty close to Antarctica, relatively speaking. And my one other note I had was about the wires being stolen on the train. That sounds very much like something that would happen in Brazil as well. But I don't think they'd ever have a nice train like that there. When I was in Chicago, they had the third rail, which is the other option. Of course, it's very dangerous. You want to make sure you don't touch it. But that was their way of doing their electric trains. And it's a very old system. I honestly don't know how far back it goes, but it's old and it looks old and looks sometimes you wonder how it's still running, which sort of reminds me of my favorite joke about Chicago. Their motto is the city that works, and I used to say, yeah, they're the city that works barely. With that, I'll send it back to that K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks for that. Well, let's go to Wade, W7ITL in Tacoma.
W7ATS here in Tacoma. Don't have much to say, and seeing all the pictures tonight, and yep, me and Bert both have 705s. They're good radios. You're limited to 5 volts when you're on battery, but if you bring an external battery pack, you can get 10 watts on that thing. It's a good radio. Alright, well, I'll turn it back to Ned, W7ITL.
7ITL, let's go to James, WU7N in Bellevue.
Well, Bob, yes, the city that works barely. I recall, was it either last winter or winter before last, when it just got bitterly cold, even by Chicago standards. I'd not heard this before, and I'm kind of a rail buff, so I was surprised, but they actually had to build fires on the rails to keep the rails from contracting so much that I guess they kind of just pull themselves out of the ground. I'd never heard of that before. European rails, I'm pretty sure, don't have this problem, so I don't know if it's a matter of how the rails are built or what the rails are built of, or the ties, or how the rails are attached to the ties. I'm not sure, but I noticed nobody's talking about global warming when they were setting the rails on fire. It was kind of a cool picture from the air, but since everyone's freezing their butts off, I guess that's just not a topic to bring up at a time when they're clearly putting some nasty hydrocarbons into the air over a lot of tracks. And I noticed, at least on the pictures I saw, it always seemed to be places like rail yards or areas where lots of trains were. So maybe it's just a rail yard thing? I don't know. If anybody knows about that, maybe you can comment. That's it for me. Have a good evening, everyone. This is James, WU7N, Northeast Bellevue. Dave, take it away.
7N, and this is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. Well, last night I was watching PBS TV, and they had a wonderful program on, an hour-long documentary called Putin and the U.S. Presidents. And it was very, very good, showing all of the last 5 presidents we had with Putin. And all the presidents except Trump seemed to think that Putin was an enemy of the state. And it was interesting when they came up on Trump, and he had his 2-hour closed meeting with Trump with nobody there to take notes for the U.S. government. So after that, Trump came out and he was talking about how great Russia was and their plan and what they were doing, and he really believed that Putin was not going to invade any place because everything is very well taken care of in Russia. So that was very interesting when you saw the viewpoint of all these presidents except for Trump. So anyway, it was well worth the time watching it. I found it a very good program. So with that, I'm going to move back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Let's see. Oh yeah, time's almost up. KD7QKU here. Well, let's see. Yeah, that sounds interesting, Dave. I didn't see that program. I don't know. I was kind of reading about radios here, and I kind of got lost in my own thoughts. I'm sorry. So I'm just going to turn it back, and someone has more interesting things to say than I do. Back to that, KD7QKU.
Sonar Jessica, KF7UHK.
Just love seeing this cat on this picture over here. It's like, that's very cute. My cat's not that friendly. So there you go. I don't have anything to say either. If Wade's still there, I don't know if you heard this, Wade, but wild turkey 101, lemon, honey, and
WH-HK, Jessica. That sounds like a fantastic remedy to get rid of a cold. Let's go to Lee, N7KC.
Okay, very good. N7KC Lee in Port Angeles here. Okay, I am Siamese if you please. I'm Siamese if you don't please. Siamese cats do pretty much what they want. we had a Siamese. It was a wonderful animal. We had her for many years. The smartest cat we ever have had. Hey, don't fret about that 5 watts on that 705. Last year I did field day, QRP here, and scored over 1,000 points. I was working stations up and down the East Coast of the U.S. and whatnot. 5 watts. I can't remember what it was. It was either 40 or 20. Anyway, so it might be a little light on sideband, but it's a potent radio on CW, I'll tell you that. And at 10 watts, my gosh, another 3 dB, you could rule the world. Okay, back to that. This is N7KC. Thanks, everybody. 73. Go ahead, Dave.
KC, let's go to Bert, N7CS.
Oh, I didn't realize it would make its way back to me, but yeah, I think someone mentioned it a bit ago, so my next trip coming up is going to be to Panama, and I'm going to be hopping on a cruise there that will do full Panama Canal transit and end up in New York. And then after I get in New York, I want to fly down to Miami for another cruise that's going to be just round trip Miami that will incidentally also do a partial Panama Canal transit. But for that second cruise, instead of doing that transit, that partial transit in the ship, I will be transferring to a ferry, or a small ferry, and going through the canal once in a walk on a ferry. So I've never done that before. It should be a much smaller ship, so probably a completely different canal experience. But yeah, these next 2 trips I'm running solo there because due to vacation limits for my wife who's still working. But that will, I'm trying to like bump up to the next status level on the cruise line, so we'll see how that works. So I've got the time now. So anyway, this is Bert Marisol, 73 all, N7CS, back to that.
CS, and it's time to wrap up the net for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. And we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association. WW7STR's repeater 147.08, which we utilize for our voice transmissions during our nets held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7CYM, signing off the net this evening. Good evening all at 9 o'clock.